Hey there, friends. I have a long history on this channel, which is somewhat futuristic. It features plans, dreams. You could say pie in the sky dreams sometimes. Right now, topically, at this point in history, it's October 13th, 2023, and the talk is everybody get out of Gaza right away because the bombers are coming, the ground offensive is coming. Get out of Gaza. Actually, I don't know if it's everybody. There might be some who want to stay, etc., etc. Actually, some people are just saying squeeze down into the bottom south part of Gaza, so that we can wreak havoc in the north, rebelize the north while y'all stand around in the south and wait for it to be over. Whatever. It doesn't seem like a great thing to have on one's resume. I'm not talking about a country. I'm talking about humanity as a whole. So, kind of in parallel, kind of in the Fuller style, I've come up with, another movie, bigger scale, where we have this whole flotilla of like cruise ships that go in a circle and bring out the million Gazans, the Palestinians, to a promised land, right? Kind of a freedom uh, breakout. Like they say, this is about getting out, then let's get some people out. Not just to the south part of Gaza, but out of Gaza. Another blog post, I call it New Gaza. And of course, I think of all these questions about, like, is this surrender and so on? What is it? Will anyone want to go? And can the United Nations get this all set up in 24 hours? That's almost just a tongue in cheek question, right? Because nobody could in 24 hours. And what giant military bases should the Gazans all be moved to? And are these camps a prelude to building something more substantial for refugees that we could use over and over? Because there's always going to be refugees, right? So I was thinking New Gaza could become the first of many high-tech refugee centers. And I mentioned Old Man River city plan, which that's been exciting actually. I found a new talk, new to me, and I put a link over in Coffee Shops Network to this talk, which links up as well to talk about the Masons, which I'd been harping on a little bit. Now, these I take to be somewhat more like Quaker journals than actually blogs, so I don't. In some cases, you may find that there's the ability to leave comments, but for the most part, I turn off the comments. So do not allow comments. Because I found when the comments were turned on that people just let robots roam and leave little silly advertisings and stuff like that. But this philosophy shop talk, I'll end with this, is by a gentleman named Benjamin Lauder. He's an artist. He works a lot with the number phi or phi, which I'm also working with, by the way, just to show you this Jupyter notebook, which I've been enhancing, and it goes to one of the GitHub repositories because what I do is I role model, kind of like I'm doing with this refugee flotilla and network of evacuation cities. I'm trying to role model a parallel universe, you could say, in which people are just a little bit smarter than they are. And we see kind of in the science fiction world that then comes out of there, you could call it propaganda for a more positive future. We see what unfolds in the blogs in terms of science fiction is indeed more hopeful, more interesting, more closer to the world we like to live in. And the thesis here is we're so close, right? This science fiction is entirely believable. We could be in the refugee business in a more serious and cooler way if we would just face up to where we are as a species. able to do these kinds of things now. We do have the technology, the understanding. We could create these cities from scratch. That's why I talk about the refugee biz. The U.S. has always been in the refugee biz. And I think to preserve its soul and its identity, it'll have to continue to be in the refugee biz. And that means helping its own internal refugees, economic refugees. I think people often join the military out of desperation. They're refugees, economic refugees. It's like, how do we define refugee? Ultimately, very broadly. Ultimately, you could say this is an asylum planet. You know, we're lucky to be here, and it feels like a refuge. So let's see if more others in the Fuller community want to jump on this bandwagon too with the refugee camps and stuff. I'm going to give it more priority and always scanning the horizon for others who might be into World Game on the same wavelength. All right, talk to you soon.